her telling that, so.
How he teased her when she was getting ready for a wedding?
Yeah, well, they were married in the house.
Oh, okay.
The minister came to the house. And Edna Smith was present, and her mother. Apparently they visited quite frequently.
Edna Smith?
Yeah, and her mother. Mimi never felt that her father was a very sociable person, Benjamin Smith.
Oh.
And he was married to, no, Mrs. Smith was a super.
Did Mimi say any stories about her father that she remembered from?
No.
She was 10, but if they weren't kept alive, she probably lost some
Well,
of the memories.
going up to the cemetery on Ascension Day.
But nothing before that of when she was little?
No. Well, he had his own rocking chair, which Emma got. It was, he must have been a big man, a tall man.
John Emanuel?
Yeah,
Because of the size of the chair?
right.
Okay.
And it was a plank bottom chair, you know, and the rockers were great big and long, and I know that was in our living room till Pappy and Mimi moved off the farm, and Emma wanted it.
And who wanted it?
Emma.
Oh. I guess she was quite interested in antiques.
Yes. That's why the wedding presents that Mimi and Pappy gave them was, I don't know whether it was $50 or $100. And that glass, it was called Vaseline glass. And it had a pattern of, on it was like the cane in those chairs over there. That's what the color was. It was like a pickle dish about that long, about that wide. And I gave them a water pitcher that stood about that high and 6 goblets with the inverted thumbprint. Mimi had the big pitcher and I bought the goblets.
To Jim and Emma.
Yeah. And I got some material for them at the store that was being closed down, and to reupholster the dining room chairs. And they bought Edna Smith's dining room suit that was made out of cherry by Ben Smith, her father, who was the cabinet maker.
So back to John Emanuel and Mimi. So she didn't share any childhood memories of her father.
No. But when I took, when we went to Lee Campbell's funeral, you know, I drove up from Maryland, and Janet came down, and of course I had planned to drive, but Ruth changed that all around because she had to get to the bank and get down to something that was on sale that she had to have before we could go. And we were only planning to go to the cemetery. We didn't go up to Lewisburg town to the funeral.
But Mimi said something, or they said something then about John Emanuel?
When I showed them the farm, that was the Dunkelberger farm, and she said, my father always said they were, if his father would have lived, they would have been rich too, or something like that. But
And so Sarah, was that the best move, just to stay on the farm and farm for a living as far as being able to feed her family?
What else could she do?
Well, that's what I was wondering. Her mother, I'm not sure how old her mother would have been. Her mother died when she was 32, when Sarah was 32. Right here. So,
Well, now, she never knew her mother.
so her mother died before they got married.
Married, yes.
Okay. All right. That's what it is.
But the only thing that she had that came from that side of the family is that sewing basket.
The only thing that Mimi had.
It's in on the sewing machine.
The only thing that Mimi had that came from the Smith side of
That
the
was
family.
her grandmother's.
Okay. That's what I want to get that written down on those slips of paper. And it was one of, wasn't it one of Sarah Jane's sisters that got that for Mimi, so she'd have something from that side of the family? When they
I
were
assume so.
closing up the house?
I assume so.
Okay. So she
But,
said,
well, now, of course, they had the furniture, I guess. Well, of course, Sarah Jane. Well, she was, when the mother died, she was only 6 or 7 years old. See, pretty much
no, wait, when Sarah Jane's mother died, she was
Yeah.
1 year old
1 year old.
or less.
So, well,
It was the
okay.
following year, and it was probably less because right here, this is Sarah Jane.
Yeah,
She was born in
December the 28th.
December, which is the end of the year,
Right.
and before 1857 is through, the father dies. So unless it was late in December, she could have just been a few months old.
Well,
I'll have to-
I thought she was less than a year old.
I have to look up that date,
Oh.
the month, other than the year. So she was the youngest of 5 children.
Right. Well, when you go to the don't go to the
The Stutzman is back here. Let's say come forward. No?
well, this is the one I wanted.
Oh,
She does not appear that much younger, but this one, that's John Campbell's, the Lee Campbell that we knew, or I knew, this was his grandmother.
oh wow.
His father's name was John.
That's Lucetta.
Yeah.
Lucette.
Apparently, she was quite a. How should I say? Of course, she would have been the one that was responsible a lot for raising Sarah Jane.
Yeah, I was just looking at them all together. So she was a baby,
Yeah.
and then they would have known well what it was like to grow up without a father in the home and having to farm and, do the part of the father and the mother.
But now, Sarah Jane was very close to the Smiths.
That's Elizabeth Catherine Smith, the
Right.
wife of Jeremiah,
Right.
the one that had the mill. Okay.
But, of course, they lived close to Shermansdale, close to where Sarah Jane was. And Susan Jane has the marriage certificate of she and Othniel Kidner in the original frame that was in. She had money. And he had money too, but she did sewing. That's all that she did.
Like tailoring?